Hey guys, it's Curtis. Just want to make a quick video talking about a post I did on my blog. I want to talk about some facts about Obama that people are not happy to talk about or don't want to talk about. It seems like I notice this a lot, mainly with Obama supporters, honestly. And I'm not trying to offend anyone. It's just that within the last few weeks, I've talked with more than one Obama supporter, and there's kind of this thing I notice where, I always get the same kind of feedback from them where they just don't seem to be very aware of what's going on. I mean, like I was talking to this woman who's a coworker, and she's asking, "What's your problem with Obama?" She says, he's just spending money to try and help the poor people. And I point out some of my problems with her, and it's like she doesn't have a real answer. Like I went through my problems real quick, and I said, well, for one thing, he signed the Patriot Act into law. He opposed it as a senator. Then, as soon as he became president, he signed it into law. I have a big problem with that. And I know some people say, "Oh, the Patriot Act's pretty harmless." I mean, I don't like it personally. I mean, I think I remember last time I read, they said the FBI had done over 200,000 searches of people's private information that they would not have been able to do before the Patriot Act, and they turned up very little in the way of results for it. So, that's just a big invasion of privacy. Does not make me comfortable. Another thing is the cost of the wars. The costs have continued rising both in Afghanistan and Iraq, even with Obama's president. And, a lot of people say, well, that's all Bush. Well, I know it's not all Bush, because Obama's been in office long enough that he really could have started seriously getting us out of there by now. People mistakenly say, well, Obama got the troops out of Afghanistan. It's like, well, no, he didn't, actually. Obama wanted to keep us in Afghanistan longer. The only thing that happened was that Obama could not negotiate, or the Obama administration, they could not negotiate a deal with the Afghanistan government to keep the troops there, so they had to pull the troops out. Despite that, they still kept a bunch of contractors there, which, actually, the Obama administration, even before this, this is back in 2009, they've been using huge numbers of contractors, which cost way more than regular military troops anyway. But they still have thousands upon thousands of private contractors, in Afghanistan, so it's still costing us a lot of money, no matter what anyone tries to say. Another thing is my problem is, medical marijuana. They said they'd lay off of that. Now now the administration's been cracking down on it like crazy. I think that I remember a few months back I read an article, about how the administration rounded up some, like, it was worth a couple $100,000 worth of marijuana and just burned it. It's just such a waste. And finally, the Federal Reserve is printing money like crazy. There's this a few years, 2009, where they could not account for $9 trillion that they lost. Now you think that it's very like, okay, you know what, this is kind of bad. Someone loses $9 trillion. We should get someone on this. We should see what's going on. Someone should really look into this. Nah, he doesn't really do that. He doesn't really care. At some point on these problems, Mike. So I'm like, spending money on wars like this, printing money, sending it overseas to other countries, losing money, that doesn't help the poor people. He's not spending money to help the poor people, like you're saying. And obviously trying to continue wars is not helping us. And her response just is, well, mistakes will happen, and, and the Bible says that there will be wars. And it's like, if you're not sure or anything, that's fine. But it's like, just please, just be reasonable. I wasn't, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying, hey, this is my problem. And it's like the general response I get is that I don't get a real answer per se, as so much as, well, he makes mistakes, or the wars are gonna happen, but he's still a good person. So it's like, if you support the guy, support him, but know why you're supporting him, know the facts, and just please make sure you know what you're talking about. So anyway, you can feel free to read my blog. I talk more about this stuff and my thoughts on it. If you like my video, please feel free to share it, and also like it and comment on it. And also definitely feel free to visit my blog, give me any feedback, and just let me know any thoughts you have. And I look forward to hearing from you guys.